My name is Wade Wallerstein, and I am the co-director of Transfer Gallery, which is a gallery that focuses on computational and simulation art. And I'm also the founder of Silicon Valet, which is a community art space for expanded internet art that lives as a web page and an Instagram account. I'm also an anthropologist, that's my background, but I'm really excited to be here today with you all to share the show that I recently curated called Pieces of Me. And this is a massive sprawling group show at Transfer Gallery that really came about in the wake of the rise of the NFT marketplace. We are experiencing a mad crypto rush right now, and amidst all of the accelerated economic volatility, we decided that we really needed to do something to add some more thoughtful action within a space that's developing in a way that feels too quick and without care. For instance, most of the NFT platforms that exist today, they're non-custodial, meaning that they don't actually do any conservation or preservation on the work that passes through their marketplaces. And also, the standard rate for artists to get paid secondary sale royalties is around 10 to 15%. And so we wanted to change that. And put in some practices that are more equitable and help to redistribute wealth to a larger group of artists. So in this show, every artist will receive 70% of primary sales, and then 30% of primary sales go into a pot that gets redistributed to all of the artists and arts workers in the show. So we're actually not taking a gallery cut on this one. But then we've also instituted some legal contracting with our sales agreement, so the artists will be legally required to receive 50% of all royalties on secondary sales in perpetuity. And so we hope that by instituting these kinds of small changes, that we can really show that there are different ways to engage with this marketplace and to participate in what is going to be a new decentralized Web 3.0 world. And, we really started out with this show by wanting to really open up space to show the wide variety of ways that artists might be able to participate in new markets. The show was guided by a mantra of transact with intention. And so we asked the artists what that meant for them and what it meant for them to, participate, selling their work as a non-fungible token on the Ethereum blockchain. And for some artists that they, got right on board and said, you know what, I really want to grab this new marketplace by the horns and give it a try. Other artists were not so sure and were happy to participate in the show and contribute their ideas and their creativity to thinking through these new kinds of market dynamics. But they decided to include their works in the show for sale, but not as NFTs. Those works will only be sold as traditional edition digital pieces with a certificate of authenticity provided by the gallery. Yet still, there's another group of artists in the show who decided, you know what, this doesn't feel right or ethical to me, and it doesn't make sense for my work to be on the blockchain. And so they've contributed work that won't be for sale at all, and it will just be contributing to the show or is alternatively available for free download for the viewer. So we've got a whole range of different ways of engaging with this new marketplace. Because what was frustrating for us at Transfer, being a digital art gallery, is that this idea of a non-fungible token isn't inherently tied to the blockchain. We've been around since 2013 selling digital art as editioned files, and in order to create that scarcity, we created our own kind of non-fungible token, which is basically a certificate of authenticity. That's on a piece of paper and as an electronic certified PDF document that is signed by myself, by the artist, and by the collector. And that, is normally what we would consider to be that thing that provides that authenticity that says that this piece is genuine and this person is the owner of it, just the same way that on the blockchain we have this great transparent technology that allows us to do the exact same thing. But this has been around for a while. This is not a brand new concept of creating scarcity for digital art. And so, coming from that perspective of doing this for almost 10 years, we really wanted to bring that to this marketplace that is so new. And this goes, and we're relatively new as well. This kind of work goes back decades. I believe that the first sale of an edition of a software-based art piece was conducted by Postmasters Gallery in New York in 1996. And then And/Or Gallery in Pasadena, California has been selling editioned YouTube videos and JPEGs from artists like Petra Cortright since the mid 2000s. So this is definitely not brand new. And there are a lot of different ways that by bringing on a more historical perspective and bringing on a perspective from, a gallery that's been working with artists and doing this for years, I think there's a lot that we can add to, conversations about different kinds of shifting market dynamics. And so without further ado, I'd love to take you guys for a little bit of a tour and show you some of the works in the show, and, kind of explain kind of how this ethos developed. And really, what this show really asked each artist to do was present a piece of themselves, something that's really like an offering to this aggregate hype that has been blowing up the internet in the wake of the emerging global NFT marketplace. So we really asked each artist to give a piece of themselves, to offer something as a wish for a more equitable and fair future, where decentralized technologies are really used to the fullest of their potential. And that was kind of the impetus for each artist, partially also coming from the fact that it's really difficult to upload large files to IPFS, or the Interplanetary File Storage Protocol, which actually stores the files that are then pointed to by NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. And so, ultimately, because of that file size restriction, a lot of the pieces that end up, being posted to NFT marketplaces are just fragments or small pieces of larger works. And so we wanted to play with that dynamic and see, what our community of artists wanted to present within that framework. And so that's, kind of where the place of kind of giving and hopefulness that the show really, really came from and started out from. Yet at the same time, we really wanted to have a critical examination of some of the different mechanics that are coming up. First up, we have Agiao, who is an amazing Chinese artist who decided to play with the relationship between the collector and the artist in this piece. So it's called NTFs underscore Agiao, and it's a set of zip file folders that are directly downloadable from a web browser. The link is actually up on Agiao's site, so you can go right now and you can download these zip files. However, only the buyer of the work will receive the password to unencrypt them. And so this is kind of cheeky because the art on the one hand, the buyer has to trust Agiao in order to know that there's something of value that is contained within these zip file folders. But at the same time, Agiao has used a password to encrypt these folders that is also his password for all of his other personal accounts. So he, in turn, has to trust the collector enough not to abuse this and steal his data. Here's another artist. Her name is Sirwa Atafua, and this piece is called Galileo's Gaze. And this piece is being sold, whole hog as an NFT. And Sirwa's an artist, a young artist who has really taken the NFT world by storm. She listed her first work on her, Genesis NFT on Foundation, and it sold for a really high price as the first work that she has ever sold. She'd mostly done commission-based work before this, and so it's really exciting to see an artist who is, focusing on Black femininity and the Black body and uplifting different kinds of cultural heritage, really be successful in this marketplace. And we thought, due to her leadership, she would really be a great addition to this show. But I think the most important piece in the show, at least the most meaningful piece in the show to me, is this one from Cassie McQuaid. It's a .text document, and it's freely downloadable by the viewer onto their desktop. So you can go ahead and download it right now, and it can be yours. This piece is not for sale. It's 0 ETH, and again, as I said, it's available for free. And it's basically just a .text file that you can download to your computer, and it contains 9 words, and those 9 words are: "This relationship means more to me than money." And by relationship, she means the relationship between her and her viewer. She's giving you a file. She's giving you a piece of yourself that you can maintain on your hard drive. And that, as long as that file is there, you'll always maintain a tether or a connection to her. And it was important to her that this piece be, freely available and not for sale, because she is very against the multiple aspects of the NFT marketplace, from the accelerationist kind of competitive and machismo nature of of how the sales have been operating, but also in terms of the environmental impact of what it takes to transact using gas on the Ethereum chain. And so, and rather than kind of violating her morals, she offered to give something to her community and her community of collectors. And I think that that spirit of giving, of really critically thinking through what the relationship is between a buyer and between a buyer and an artist and a gallery and a work of art is so meaningful and really serves as the cornerstone of this exhibition. The show is ultimately organized in a series of rooms, and we've seen a few of the works so far, but each of the rooms is thematic and really brings together works in a way that speaks to the ethos of how each artist has wanted to participate in this show, and in the marketplace writ large as well. So the first room, where we've seen work from Cassie McQuaid so far, is called "This Is Who I Am," and this room is all self-portraits. It's all works of artists, presenting a vision of who they are. And here we have works by Olia Svetlanova, for instance, who is an avatar artist and is only, represented by their virtual embodiment. And they've offered this avatar of themselves, which is purchasable as a GLB. So you can literally buy Olia's body and contain it on your computer and manipulate it, as the buyer might see fit, or alternatively wear it as your own shell, so to speak. The next room that I want to share with you is called "Don't Look Down, Don't Look Back." And all the works in this room are really presenting cautionary tales about what may happen if we don't take caution as we enter into these new different kinds of economic realities. Stacey Ant presents a triptych. It's called "Long Live the New Flesh," and it's presented right here to slide through in browser. And here we see an almost like a myth of Narcissus, figure looking into the pool, or rather, in this case, the screen. And as Stacey's avatar kind of stares into the screen stares back. And it's really this idea, there's a quote from her that accompanies the work that says, "If you gaze long enough into the abyss also gazes into you." And so by kind of staring into our screen and kind of falling prey to the hype cycle, she's kind of pointing to the more nefarious or insidious or harmful consequences that might kind of come through. Another artist in this room that is doing something really interesting is Danielle Brathwaite-Shirley, who's a trans Black artist based out of Berlin. And she presents this work called "Terms and Conditions." It's a GIF work. It's moving, as you can see. And the buyer of this work is required to agree to all of the terms and conditions that are displayed in the work of art. That's kind of step one. But this work also, upon purchase, is accompanied by a print resolution document as well. And one of the terms of sale is that the buyer print out the work, the still image version, and display it in their physical space for a minimum period of 2 years. So again, to really try to critically examine what this transacting moment is, Danielle Brathwaite-Shirley has basically put a price on trans allyship, a physical price and a physical action, a tide that asks the collector to really put their money where their mouth is. The next room on the list is called "Blow It All." And this room is really, again, that idea of really grabbing the market by the horns, saying screw it, and just diving in headfirst to see, what might happen. And there's a really beautiful work by Oria Harvey that we've included in the show. It's an augmented reality piece, and you can see it here in browser, fully manipulable by the viewer. And so the buyer of this piece will not only receive the GLB file of this sculpture, the 3D model version, they'll also receive the HTML installation environment and access to print the work via Shapeways as a 3D printed physical sculpture. So in so many ways, this piece perfectly represents the idea of the expanded internet art objects that exist through multiple material forms and in multiple networked places online. And what's interesting about this piece is that, or the way that we're selling this piece is that, for Oria, it's really important that the idea of selling an NFT is really tied to artist patronage, and it's not only supporting and patronizing not only the artist and supporting their career, sculpture, but also the community that surrounds the artist's work. So the collector who buys this unique one-of-one edition will receive all of the things I spoke about before: the 3D model file, the HTML installation environment, and the 3D sculpture printed from Shapeways. But once that purchase has taken place, 100 additional editions of the 3D printed sculpture will become available on Shapeways for anyone to purchase at a reduced cost. So in that way, the collector of this work is then democratizing access and patronage to a whole other group of people, to really represent the way that by just a few people supporting an artist's career, so many other people gain access to their creativity and the things that they are making. And so we're thinking about, again, different ways of redistributing wealth, different ways that we can collectively support each other and support the artists that we love and care about. The next room on the line is called I Don't Belong Here. And actually, this is the work that Oria Harvey's piece comes from. This room is all about liminality and fitting in and not fitting into one place or another, and kind of feeling caught in between, as many artists feel as they kind of grapple with the ramifications of the rise of NFTs. We also have this work by Kumbra Mukumbe, who's another non-binary Black artist. And this piece, again, has multiple materialities. It's called The Gate, and it exists as a video work that we have available in our inventory for purchase. But as an NFT, the buyer will receive the GLB object file of this sculpture, as well as the physical sculpture itself will mail it to you. So this is another example of a kind of a hybrid experience of something that is liminal and sits in between. And Kumbra has definitely, themselves felt many different conflicting emotions about the NFT marketplace. And I think that not only their personal identity of really sitting in between different kinds of gender representations, as well as the kind of fluid materiality and form of this piece, really speak to kind of the positionality that artists are finding themselves in right now. The next room is called We've Been Waiting for You. And all the works in this room are coming from artists who are, we consider OGs or, folks who have really been leading the way and pioneering what is possible, both in the digital arts and in the NFT marketplace. But we also have work from artists like Sarah Ludi in the show. And it's just a minute while this video loads up here. This piece is called 201811182134, which is basically just the timestamp on her phone. This is a video made using her phone of some augmented reality works that she made. She was one of the first artists who went to her gallery and actually negotiated terms so that the split for any NFT sale would not only, be fair to her, but also fair to all of the arts workers that work at the gallery that represent her. So any gallery cut from any of her NFT sales automatically gets split equally between not only the owner of the gallery, but all of the workers there too. So really thinking about ways that we can support different kinds of labor inclusivity, through our work and through the way that we transact online. The room after this is called Close Your Eyes, Make a Wish. And all of the works in this room are really hopeful towards the new future that we're kind of slowly tiptoeing into. Might be better, might be more exciting. And they're using simulation as a tool in order to make those worlds realities. The second to last room is called Take a Picture, It'll Last Longer. And this is kind of cheeky. It's kind of that idea of it's kind of toying with the flashiness and the kind of the bravado of the NFT marketplace. And that brings us to the final space in the room, in the show. It's called You Can't See the Future with Tears in Your Eyes. And this show is really all about the fact that you can't move forward if you're caught in the past. If you're is kind of about looking into the future, kind of shaking off the cobwebs, moving past any negativity, and really trying to see, across the horizon. So great, my model has loaded. This is Qianqian Yi's The Rebreather. And this piece is really interesting because it kind of replicates a lot of the really shiny, post-human, cyborgy aesthetics that we've been seeing really dominate the NFT marketplace. But in contrast to kind of the criticism of those works as shallow, this work is rooted in the artist's research and relationship with an ethnic group of women in China, the Digong women. And so it speaks to this much larger cultural history and narrative and lineage that I encourage you to come to the show and read all all about, we'll take a look at this piece by Pussy Crew. It's called NF Banshee, and it kind of features this character, this Zen AI character from a larger multiverse game work that the studio has.
Day-to-day life goes on as usual in the virtual village, except for the stalking of Meg. Many virtual creatures lurk.
I think that I will leave you with that. So that's the show. You can check it out by going to piecesofme.online. I encourage you to do so. We also have open gallery hours every Saturday from 11 a.m. PST to 4 p.m. PST. If anybody wants to come back for another tour, I'd be happy to meet you in our video lounges, and we can talk about the show. I'd love to kind of tell you more. This has been a really meaningful project for me to work on, especially considering kind of how rapidly things are changing and the way that so many artists are feeling kind of lost in the fray. And I hope that this, really shows everyone out there, artists, curators, gallerists, everyone, that there are so many different options here, and we don't have to subscribe to the monoculture presented to us by centralized platforms. We can really harness the power of Web 3.0 and decentralized technologies like the blockchain to create the world ourselves, and do things in ways that are meaningful to us and are carried through with intention. Thank you so much for listening to my talk and coming to my tour, and I hope to see you in the gallery soon.